Good morning. This week you'll be completing a challenge program, you'll be completing a DBA, and then you're also going to be taking part 1 and part 2 of your module exam. This time when you take a module exam, there'll be both a multiple choice portion and a free response portion. Um, and I'm going to recommend that you plan an hour for each. So you probably should do the multiple choice Thursday and the free response on Friday, but more to that later. So I want to circle back and talk about your challenge program. Now, within the challenge program, this is, like I told you before, these are pretty complicated. You're going to be using pretty much everything you've used up to this point: strings, variables, if statements, loops, reading input data, formatting output, and then you're also going to make use of one more thing that they're going to teach you in this lesson. So you're going to be reading in a bunch of hurricane data, and you'll have to do some converting from one unit measure to another. But within the process of doing so, you are going to be asked to find a minimum value and a maximum value of a certain of like a wind speed or some other facet of the hurricane. So baked within this challenge program lesson is some sample code of how the algorithm of how you find a maximum. And they give you a file that you're supposed to download. So I've actually done that, and I want us to take a look at that. So they've created a simple list of integers here. Now, bake it within the integer class in Java are the largest integer value possible that they call a max value. So this is a constant and this is its value. Constants in Java are in all caps. Then there's also the largest minimum integer value, which if you want to try to convert that, you would know that that's a lot. Those are some really big positive and negative numbers. Now, the way we determine if something is a minimum or a maximum is we do the kind of the opposite of what you think. You set the minimum value equal to the largest maximum value. You set the maximum value equal to the largest minimum value. And that's how you start. Then you create a loop that processes or goes through every element in the list. So if we're trying to see if the first item is the minimum, what we do is we grab it and we compare it to the min. Now remember, the min was set to a really huge value. So the first time through, you're going to look at that and go, is 3 less than this giant positive number? Well, it is. So we go inside the if statement and we reset min equal to what's in the list. So although we temporarily set this to a giant number, as soon as we process the first element, this is now reset to 3. Then we check the first item against the maximum. Is this item bigger than what we set the max to? Well, remember, we set the max to this really small negative value. So is 3 greater than this maximum? It is. So the first time through, these are both set to 3. So then we go up and we compare with 99. Is 99 less than 3? Well, it's not. So we skip around, but that when we check for the max, is 99 greater than 3? Because remember, we had reset this to 3. Well, it is. So we go inside, and then max is now equal to 99. So we continue to process every element in the list, and when we're all done, we will have found the minimum and the maximum. So we know the maximum is this, and the minimum should be this. So if we run this, that is what we get. Now, in addition, at the end of the program, we ask Java to print out what those minimum and maximum values are for our reference. Then it asks you to do the same thing, but now change up that program. So now we're looking at doubles. So in a while, we're going to learn about the math class. And the math class has a built-in constant for pi. So I've created this double list, full of a bunch of doubles, including negative 3.1414, blah, 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 and positive, and then some other random ones. So in the double class in Java, there are also maximum values and minimum values. Now these numbers are much bigger in magnitude. So if you compare this to what you saw in the other in terms of exponents, you would know that that is true. I think this is supposed to be to the. Okay, so the process though is the same. We create a loop processing every element in the list, comparing to our minimum and our maximum. And like before, we set our minimum to the largest value and our maximum to the smallest value. And then we process every element in the list until we determine the largest values. So in our case, we should find this as the smallest and this as the largest. And at the end, we also print out everything in the list, which you can see there. So I highly encourage you, don't skip these lessons. Make sure you go through them and understand how it is to find the minimum and the maximum in a list. Because as you move forward into the assignment, there's a lot to manage here. So you're going to be getting, you need to download this file, which is a bunch of hurricane data. And if you go inside, you can see a year, a month, and I think it tells you what these things are. These are data and their name. So let's go back to the lesson. Examine the text file, become familiar. From left to right, it's name, pressure, wind speed, month, and year. Write your program in functional units, do one task at a time. Document each section of code. Use for each loops and keep traditional for loops where they are appropriate to read that data. Read the data from the text file and store it in arrays. So you're going to have a bunch of arrays. Use a separate array for each group. Use one array for the years, one for the wind speeds, and these will be parallel arrays. So everything from position 0 will be the first row of data. Everything in position 1 will be the second row of data in the different arrays, and so on. Then you're asked to convert wind speed from knots to miles per hour, so that'll be an additional array. Then you have to figure out the category of each storm. So this is another array. And you're going to use this scale, read the wind speed, and figure out what the appropriate category is. Then you're going to ask the user to provide a range of years. Use this range to create the output. Ensure the user pick years for which you have data. For the given year range, calculate the average for category, wind speed, and pressure. Now, in number 11, this is where you're going to make use of those constants that you just learned about. For the given year range, determine the maximum and minimum values for the category, wind speed, and pressure. You're asked to use these constants. Do not use Java's min or max methods. Then you're going to print the results in a well-formatted, user-friendly fashion. So that means use the printf command. Numeric data needs to be aligned on the decimal point. And if you look down below, you'll see that. And finally, write the summary statistics in a text file. Include the year range and the count for each category. So this is the expected output that we're looking for. So this is very involved. Please do things in steps. Otherwise, it'll be too complicated. Then you're going to be doing a DBA. Remember, for a DBA, you need to contact me and set up a time that we can have our texting conversation. So send me a message. Make sure you label it DBA. The best times are in the evening between 7 and 9 p.m. Once we reach an appointment time, text me at this number and I will send you the questions. Now, finally, you'll be taking a multiple choice and free response exam this week. Each one of them are going to need about an hour, so plan accordingly. Plan Thursday for one, Friday for the other. If you're looking for extra practice, you can go to codingbat.com and complete Logic 1 and String 1. So I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to make another one.